Hi, and welcome to Mind Your Health. David, I'm so excited to
Me
be
too.
here today.
Yes.
We are here with Natalie Lucas, and we're going to be talking about hearing today.
Particularly the online hearing aids, they're using a method of sales that is kind of like shock and awe, complete saturation of very, very sophisticated and savvy marketing all everywhere.
Okay.
You can't get away from the German hearing aids or certain
Yeah.
outfits here. But at the same time, in my opinion, the product is going in that marketing, not as much as in the product.
Mind your health.
Got to mind your health.
Mind your health.
Treat yourself. You got to mind your health.
And you know, for me, it's especially, I'm 72, I've been wearing hearing aids for 12 years. I absolutely love them. You tease me only a little bit. No, you don't. You really
I
don't.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no, yeah. But I think talking about hearing is something that we think is for older adults, not children, older adults, but it's really for everyone. And Natalie was sharing with us that the World Health Organization has just come out with a study. So let's start our conversation there.
So every few years, the WHO updates their guidelines for Alzheimer's and dementia prevention. I think the last one that they put out was 2019. And they just came out with some updated guidelines, which for the first time ever is including hearing aids as part of the recommendations for dementia and Alzheimer's prevention. And it just comes right off of us actively learning so much about how hearing is affecting our brains.
Well, before they didn't say anything about, is it hearing aids? What about hearing loss or screenings?
They
or what?
recommended screenings, they recommended loss, but now what they're really finding is the adoption of hearing aids
Okay.
makes a difference no matter where you are in the journey.
Okay.
Early, before Alzheimer's and dementia diagnosis, or even during, and plugging people back into the world, because that's what hearing aids are doing.
Well, I told you, for me anyway, when I don't have my hearing aids in, I really will sit back from a conversation because I can't, it's not that I can't hear people talking, it's I can't make out these, the sounds. I'm not quite sure if it's,
You're missing the clarity
yeah.
and all of that. I call it ye old nod and smile,
Right, yeah.
which is what we don't want to do, right?
Right.
When
Is it like, sorry,
Go ahead, no, you go.
is it like many other diseases where should we come in for a baseline? I think I hear fine. Should I go and say, okay, you're telling me I'm a
How old are
7 out of 10? How old am I?
you?
I'm going to be 65 in
No, you're
3
not.
weeks.
Is that really true?
Yes.
So at what
So should I
age?
come? Well, that's right. I think
Absolutely.
I hear fine.
Absolutely.
So should I come in and, all right, I'm a 7 out of 10. And then I come a year later, or,
Depending on what you find out, and even at 52, I should be sitting down and starting to think about that as well. What's changing right now is we've got a whole bunch of generations behind us who have had things stuck in their ears their whole lives, listening to loud music with
Oh.
headphones. And we're seeing in some smaller side studies that mild hearing loss undetected in young people, 18 to 40, is
Wow.
on the rise because
the earbuds
of
and
the earbuds
Yep.
and cranking it up, and not just wearing them here and there. Like, my era was the Walkman.
Right.
I certainly had my Walkman on, but these guys are using earbuds all day long. And so it's the length, the duration, and the volume that's causing early onset hearing loss.
About that. We
No,
should
yeah.
think about it.
Which is part of why the World Health Organization is really sounding the alarm, because early studies are showing that there are impacts to the brain, even in mild untreated hearing loss in younger people. And that's crazy to think about because they don't even know.
Right. And I was always taught, if the music's too loud, you're too old. Now we're setting ourselves up
Right.
for a generational failure
Right.
in, 20 years from now.
Without a doubt.
What causes hearing loss? Let's just go basic for a second.
Several different things can cause hearing loss. One, genetics. It can go straight through families.
Did your parents have
No.
hearing? Okay.
So genetics is an important factor. Things like chemotherapy and radiation or traumas, a car accident or some kind of trauma, Ototoxic medicines. There are tons of
Whoop,
medicines
whoop,
out
whoop. All
there.
right, we have a pharmacist.
Yeah,
All right, talk to me about what
tons and tons of medicines can be poisonous to the hearing.
I did not know that.
We're careful in higher doses.
Yeah.
So what
know,
would that look like? That would look like if I'm on
mega doses of steroids or, Aleve, Advil, those kind of things.
okay.
And also, like in an instance I saw was somebody who had a staph infection, and they put them on the drip antibiotics. Can be
So,
very, very.
so there's a class of drugs, gentamicin, those.
Mhm.
Is these you got to be careful, especially in children, because it's all forming, and you can cause permanent hearing loss from those drugs.
I've seen it do it to people that come to see me.
Yep.
Loop diuretics is another big one that people don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors are prescribing something to fix what they're prioritizing as the
Right.
issue.
They're lowering the blood pressure, not
Right.
really caring about
Yeah.
hearing loss.
Yes.
Yep, I get it.
So when it comes to hearing, are there things that we can do to prevent hearing loss? And in the event that I felt like, because I had teenagers when I was turning 60, I felt like when I was listening to them, I felt like they mumbled a lot and they put their heads down, and I was missing so much. And then I would turn on the television, and if there was anything else going on, I would miss it. And I was like, I just don't feel like this is right.
Mhm. The the easiest preventable cause of hearing loss is noise exposure.
Is it really?
Absolutely. And I'm becoming that person that will tap the
Mhm.
leaf blower and the landscape workers here because they're here in droves on the shoulder and be like, you need hearing protection. These guys going around with the leaf blowers all day long, dental drills, construction machinery workers.
So what is it then about restaurants? The hardest part for me now, going out to restaurants is sometimes really difficult. I feel like I'm getting the
Is
music.
it the ambient noise? Is too much ambient
Well, I
noise?
feel like the acoustics and the ambient noise and everybody's talking, and it seems like that's part of the way that a restaurant sets it up. So you feel like you're sort of,
New York bistro style. The
yeah.
louder it is and the more bustling it is, the hipper and more popular. An analogy I use all the time, think about this. 1970s and 80s, which were my generations growing up, our homes had thick pile carpets, shag carpet, 8-foot ceilings with small rooms, with heavy drapes in every room, with linoleum, vinyl, and big box TVs with big box TV speakers. Our style of living, both in most restaurants we're in, as well as our homes these days, are open concept, 10-foot ceilings, vaulted ceilings,
never
walls
thought
of
about that.
windows with plantation shutters, quartz, granite, tile, hardwood.
Yeah.
Sound
Open.
bounces off of everything.
Yeah. And the restaurants are no different.
Mm.
You're getting in these restaurants with these huge high ceilings and walls of windows and tile floor, and
That's so true.
sounds are bouncing around everywhere.
So let's talk about hearing devices, because every magazine I look at, it's like for $19.99, you can have a hearing device and a diamond nail, And so how do I even know where to begin? What do I do? And let's talk about your profession too, because I think all of this sort of ties together.
I've gotten to where I almost want to write some of these companies or write the government. What they were trying to do is open it up so there's not such an exclusion of certain people due to price,
Okay.
right? And so they tried to make it where you could get them on the internet or over the counter became available, regulated by the FDA to only be a certain power, a power that couldn't hurt you. But they thought that that was going to open it up to the masses.
Okay.
And by and large, it is not working very well. And the reason why is because hearing is so sophisticated.
Okay.
And the places we are, and everybody's chief complaint is hearing in noise, hearing in that noisy restaurant with background noise.
That's it. Yeah.
And these devices don't have that kind of sophistication.
What does a hearing
Yeah,
device
so,
do?
right.
Yeah.
So, and I'll add a couple things. One of the things that drove it was the hearing aids aren't covered by Medicare.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the government wanted a cheaper alternative.
Okay.
But so when you said these devices, so, pharmacies can get them, but all they are is amplifiers.
Yeah.
They just make
Glorified.
noise louder.
Oh, okay.
So she talked, Natalie said
Like
about,
turning my TV up.
Right.
correct. And Natalie said, the problem is it's so individualistic. My hearing loss is not the same as your. I hear stuff that you don't hear, and
Right.
you just can't fit, a little box on here and say, oh, I got my new little box. I'm good. I can hear everything now. It's not quite that simple.
And furthermore, we all want to hear different. We're all wired different. Some people crank up the treble, other people like bass. Some people
Never
like
thought about that.
everything loud in life, other people don't like noise, So there's a very, subjective element to hearing and to how it applies to our life and the places we go and the things we do. But particularly the online hearing aids, they're using a method of sales that is kind of like shock and awe, complete saturation of very, very sophisticated and savvy marketing all everywhere. You
Okay.
can't get away from the German hearing aids or certain
Yeah.
outfits here. But at the same time, in my opinion, the
Mhm.
product is going in that marketing not as much as in the product. And I see tons and
Oh,
tons
I
and
see what you're
tons of
saying.
people that fall for it that end up in my office. I've never seen it work for anyone other than somebody who maybe just really needed an amplifier, didn't have an aidable loss.
Ooh, an
It's
aidable
crazy.
loss.
An aidable loss.
What is an aidable loss?
An aidable loss is you're missing enough information that it's impacting you in some way or another.
How is that determined? What is the criteria for determining if there is a hearing loss?
The normal range of hearing it has about a 20 decibel range, and some people have very, very acute, excellent hearing. But when we're talking about hearing loss, we're talking about in terms of language, right? So we're testing where the normal thresholds are all above where you hear the sounds in the English language, particularly. I wonder
Okay.
weird things like, how does this work in Mandarin?
Right.
But um, so there's a range that can still be considered normal while missing little bits and pieces
Have
of
you
stuff.
had a hearing test?
No.
No.
Explain what you do.
So it's a multi-part testing, part air thresholds, beeps and tones, part speech testing. If you aren't processing speech at a high level, then hearing aids are going to be a different conversation, more about safety and security than if you're processing.
Okay.
Those are difficult conversations. And then bone conduction. So it's a whole variety of testing on how you're hearing certain tones in different ways. Some signal to noise ratio testing, how we all have different abilities to process speech and noise well before hearing loss.
I'm just laughing because as an overachiever and just right, I got to get an A. I got to get an A. So I'm with Natalie, and she's like, "Just tell me when you hear the beep." I'm like, "Yep, yep, yep, yep." I'm figuring if I just
Yeah.
paint this picture, I will get them all eventually. She's like,
Nobody likes a test.
"Yeah,
Everybody, they take it really seriously,
right." And you're sitting
and
there like,
concentrating so hard.
So
and-
embarrassing.
Well, it's funny that it's such a, it's a dichotomy, I guess. So many people need it. The technology now is better than it's ever been. Yet I can't get the two people together.
"Oh my gosh!"
So my lovely wife, which shall remain nameless, I listen to the TV at about 10, and she listens to about 22. And when I come home, I have to turn the volume down. But she will know. She did a thing online with her phone, a hearing test. Oh, I'm fine. I'm like, I don't know if that's quite.
That's an early indicator of somebody who's trying to turn it up to get clarity and they're turning everything up and it's not working.
You know what I remember more than anything? What you told me. When do people come in to get tested? When their spouse.
Oh, really? Oh, it's the spouse says, "Hey, honey,
As human
you don't need
beings,
to hear."
right. As human beings, and I find this so fascinating, but as human beings, our brain and our eyes and all the other tools in our toolkit will compensate and adapt if you're not hearing well. And it's sometimes very hard, even a hearing aid wearer, is sometimes very hard for them to tell if their hearing aid's not working well because they're going to compensate and adapt unconsciously. But you on the other side of the conversation is like, whoa, the TV, the neighbors can hear it.
Right.
You know,
Ah,
oh,
that's
you're
interesting.
asking what way too much. You're more tuned in to the nuance because of your years together, to the nuance of communication styles and how loud the TV is
Hmm.
And
than
if
she
there's a
is.
deficit with the person
Mhm.
that you're talking to,
Mhm.
it's so
Think
interesting.
about it though. I mean, people who are deaf tend to have more acute eyesight. People who lose their eyesight, their
Mhm.
ears are tuned into the
Mhm.
world in a very different way.
Hmm.
We compensate and adapt to things, to deficiencies
Let's
when we
talk
can.
about how the hearing aid has changed. We've
Mm.
gone from the
Conch shell.
yeah, conch shell in the ear to,
Born.
I
That thing
know
works
people
still.
come now, it's all Bluetooth into their phone. I mean,
Yeah.
they're teeny tiny. I know I see some that are in the ear,
Yeah.
or some still that are in the behind the ear.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Different hearing losses, different abilities with fine motor skills with the hands.
Ah,
So if somebody has a really tough time with their fine motor skills, a behind the ear may not be the best option. It may be easier for them to hold a custom,
And
um,
just put it
or
in.
to
Okay.
seal up their ear with a custom. A custom is sealing up the ear more for
gotcha.
somebody where you're holding in all the sound. Right now, we're in a super, super pivotal time in changes in hearing aid technology, thanks to good old AI.
Oh,
We've have all these bells and whistles. Some people love the bells and whistles, other people want nothing to do with Bluetooth. But the AI is starting to trickle down, which is the first we can ever have a true conversation about teaching a hearing aid what is speech, what
What
is
is background
noise,
noise? Oh,
what
that's
is
cool.
what is different types of music. And so this one hearing aid that we have that's a phonak, the sphere, can identify different types of music. Now, my guess is they're having trouble with jazz,
okay.
right? Because it's
Oh,
not rhythmic. It's hard to teach jazz. But
Oh, this is
until
yeah, that's
now,
fascinating.
That
we've
is.
only had directional microphones in modern technology, directional microphones with one scanning the background. It left these pockets and holes on the side because you're using directionality in screens. And anything that said, oh, yeah, you can pick your directionality was really more gimmicky than effective.
Okay.
So, with AI coming down and coming into the picture, number one, we're working in a 360 because the AI, the chip is being taught over many years to read noise and separate speech and noise, or to identify
Wow.
music. And
Ooh, I got chills. This is cool.
That's
it's
cool.
a very, very pivotal change in how we're finally going to really address people hearing their best in noise and teaching a chip what to listen to. They even say possibly we may be teaching a chip inadvertently who to listen to, which I think could be fraught with problems,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
I love
That could
Better
go
stop the
either
cameras
way.
right now.
That's what I was gonna say.
I
I
know.
got a couple on my list that I'd rather not hear from.
Right. Yeah.
Present company excluded,
Of
of course.
The
course.
most
Perish
common
them.
voice in your ear isn't always the best or most wanted voice in your ear, right?
So interesting.
Yeah. But
I never thought about that.
as a skeptic of AI,
Okay.
me, this is the good stuff,
Oh, I
right? When
love
you start
this.
talking about teaching a chip
Mhm.
what to listen to and how to hear, it will change the whole game and the challenges people have with their hearing aids.
What is it about, and maybe it's just me now, when my mom and dad were alive, the thought of getting a hearing aid to them flipped them out. They couldn't even,
Stigmas
they couldn't even deal with it. And now,
changing.
I mean,
Yeah.
my grandkids love to put my hearing aids in because they can sit on the phone and play their games and not bug anybody.
hmm
I mean,
I know I've used this analogy with you before years ago, but Ralphie in A Christmas Story. We
okay.
used to have big stigmas on Coke bottle glasses, right? And then those all changed because we were treating eye care with regularity from childhood up.
Okay.
We haven't known enough about how hearing impacts the brain until more modern times with these studies with MRI technology. Ears used to be a throwaway sense. You aged into, you retired at 55, you sat down in your lazy boy and you lost your
Knitted
hearing.
and that was it.
We didn't understand that it's fitness of the brain.
Hmm.
And so those
Mhm.
stigmas have been a long time changing because we weren't addressing hearing like we were addressing eyes. And I believe one day we'll have matching hearing aids just like we have colorful glasses and fake glasses and designer glasses and
I mean, right now even it's like, do you want rose gold or do you like stay right?
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, I want them not to be seen.
But what I love most is those stigmas are very, very actively changing right now with the news that we're learning about how it can help ward off dementia and Alzheimer's, how it's the fitness of your brain. I always say it's the easiest way you went to the gym in your life is
Yeah.
putting on a hearing aid.
That's cool. Do all people get hearing loss if you live long enough?
No, not necessarily. There's
So wrong.
there's so many internal and external
Mhm.
variables. I would say probably, unofficially most. But every once in a while, and most often it is a female, a woman, you will see somebody way up in their years that still has acute hearing or pretty acute hearing.
Mm.
Depending, I guess, what it is, do most people progressively get worse? Like if I started wearing hearing aids at 60 and the kind of hearing is just, I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, does it progressively get worse or do you have to adapt or?
There's too many internal and external variables to
Okay.
predict. It can level off where we
Okay.
are in science right now, or it can continue to deteriorate.
Mhm.
But noise exposure, genetics, medicines, too many variables there. Hearing aids aren't going to make your hearing better,
Okay.
and they're not going to impact whether it changes or not.
Oh, okay. And the other thing that was hard initially, it was like contact. Do you wear contacts?
No.
Wearing contacts was like the first time I put them in my eyes was tough. So there's a bit of adjustment to hearing through hearing
Without a doubt.
devices.
I went into contacts with a lot of ego, and I came out with my tail between my legs, poking my left eye out for weeks.
Right.
Um, Hearing aids are an adaptation. The
Mhm.
sounds that you've been missing for a long time will sound very, very funny. Treble in particular. If your brain hasn't been hearing it for a long time, it will sound tinny or metallic-y.
Mhm.
When you get hearing aids, we're sending you out into a noisy world with microphones on the back of your head or in your ear. So we turn them down.
Mhm.
And as the brain starts accepting the hearing aid as part of the body
Mhm.
and that adaptation, then we start inching it up. But if we sent somebody out the door and they're full prescriptive target on day one,
They'd never wear
by
it.
the time they got home, they'd have yanked them out.
That's a sure. I had no idea. That's a great
It is
point.
a very big, most people 2 to 3 weeks
Mhm.
process of adaptation, but I see some, particularly sometimes the noise exposures where they've been missing these sounds maybe for decades. It may take them 6 months, and I'll do a 6-month check-in, and then they're finally ready because the things will sound so tinny and metallic-y.
Mhm. Well, I remember initially calling, every kind of the anonymous pediatrician call. Well, because you didn't know what was normal or right or what the experience should be.
Yeah.
Hearing birds or what, just the dumbest stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you're,
You talked about the humans had like a 20 decibel range. So the hearing aid is not going to change that. I can't get,
No.
in
can't
ears
be
of
like
a
a
dog or
dog.
something.
No, yeah.
Hear,
We're not going to give you special ears.
yeah, right, yeah.
superpower.
Not yet, anyways.
Right.
Do we, is it anatomy that we're limited to what we can hear? Just real quick,
Well,
off topic,
I
but
mean, yeah, anatomy has to do with it, our capabilities, our range. We don't have dog ears, and we know, for instance, that dogs can hear well beyond sounds that we can hear. So yeah, we have a certain capability, I think, within our anatomy, within our cochlea.
Well, and we were talking about before, I think we started rolling about, I watch people, even with
Yeah.
hearing aids, I'm much more comfortable. If I'm in the back seat of the car, it's harder for me to hear people in the front seat because I can't see them.
Here's the thing, we all communicate better face to face. We know this. We don't always do it, and but when you step out into the world and you're talking to strangers, you tend to communicate properly and look people in the eye and face to face. It's with our friends and our loved ones that we have our worst communication habits, but growing up, we are raised to, look people in the eye, speak face to face, and there's reason why.
we remember we talked about that with grandparents
Yeah.
because I have a granddaughter in Michigan, and so I don't see her all that regularly, but we do FaceTime, and she can look right at me and we talk.
It's so cool.
And think about all the nonverbal cues we get from people too. You know, when we're looking at people, body language, hand gestures. You know,
Even if I'm not hearing what you're saying, you
there
kind of
is a
give me an
whole
indication.
picture we're
Yeah.
taking in when we're using our eyes too, and context from our brain.
What does it mean when she starts to talk and I go kind of like when I go
Right.
like that? Does that mean anything?
Oh
Exact-
no.
Oh no. Exactly. Well, I love it. As we're kind of wrapping things up, is there anything that you would recommend we do to protect our hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
What you tell me outside.
Brought a Phil.
I hate when that happens.
Just came out over here.
Ooh.
Not shooting IMAX.
That's right, not right. You just 1 second.
Because we were talking hot.
Have you seen that new movie, that Odyssey
Your
movie?
nails are so
They said the
cool. Is this
cinematography
something
is
new,
incredible.
Throne.
Is it?
Wow, I kept looking at the blue shining off of them, and I'm like, that is not a normal.
So
That is not a
trendy.
normal
There's
manicure.
nothing normal about her.
I'm at your shirt.
Head to toe.
Yeah. Normal is a dryer setting. Why? be
Normal is boring. Number one. I mean,
Message statements, and I keep it in the whole.
Yeah, and we'll just wrap it up with sort of
Yeah.
from a mind or health point of view. What do you recommend?
yeah, because we need to
Start
think
with
about it.
screening.
Yeah,
You know, when do we come in?
start with protecting your hearing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You know, start with protecting your hearing and realizing,
Start protecting your hearing.
and then address screenings earlier. One of these days we'll be starting a lot earlier than we are, but certainly by middle age.
Blowers
Do
on.
they still? I mean, I remember as a kid something in school. Do they still do school
I
children?
never had anything in school, but I did have a colleague that just got hired as a school audiologist. That
Oh,
is
that's
something
cool.
we're going to see change. You know,
Like for the district.
now
and
that
most
the
local
World
schools
Health
do.
yeah,
Organization.
the more that we're learning about it, we're going to see these things starting to change to trickle down more into schools. But insurance companies, of course, are crunching the numbers.
Oh.
If you
Well,
can prevent 5 years of dementia care,
Correct.
Yeah.
But typically, and tell me if I'm wrong, typically good hearing aids are about $3,500 to $3,800 each.
so you can get
And-
into excellent ones now between 5 and 6.
Okay. And then
5
the
and 7.
changer and all.
Yeah.
Or not changer, charger and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
I've been trying to keep mine as low as possible. I've been trying to sell those 2-chip ones at right below 5, just
Mhm.
because food, gas,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Ready for the last question?
So you say as we wind down, is that where you pick up?
Yes, and it'll be open the whole rest of the interview. So one camera only for the last part. All the way in this IMAX camera. Cool down.
Fine.
3, 2.
And so interesting, it really is. As we wind down here on Mind Your Health, what kind of words of wisdom do you have for us when we're talking about our hearing?
Noise-induced hearing loss is the number one preventable cause. And I see younger people, get earplugs. Number one, start protecting your hearing when you're doing yard work, when you're going to concerts. And then recognize that you need to be getting screenings much earlier than we probably are. It's important to find out just for the fitness of your brain.
I mean, this has been amazing. We
Yes.
want to thank you for
Awesome.
Yeah,
joining us.
absolutely.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Thank you for helping us. Mind your health.
Mind your health. To mind your health.